"Darling, take your brother's card. He's got around $90,000 stashed away," my mom remarked, passing my card to my sister without asking me. She headed directly to the shopping center and loaded her basket with gadgets, luxury footwear, and exotic scents. The clerk totaled the items, $88,000, slid the card in, stared at the display, and stated, "Apologies, but this card is my name's Harold. I'm 33, a junior lawyer at a medium-sized firm in the city center, the eldest kid, the one who examines the details and grabs additional tissues. I'm the guy who repairs internet connections, reviews contracts, and recalls everyone's sensitivities. I don't consume alcohol often, I jog at dawn, and I prefer my invoices organized by date since disorder makes my mind hum. At home, I'm the steady one. In my household, that translates to the lender." It was a Sunday, evening time, rain pattering on the kitchen pane at my folks' house. The place scented of citrus polish and sautéed onions. My mother was cutting apricots with that small, jagged blade she's owned since I was a kid. My sister, Jenna, swiped through her device, partly attentive, partly grinning. The television in the adjacent room broadcast a reality program softly. Folks with bright smiles debating over a holiday home. I leaned against the countertop, necktie relaxed, scanning a preliminary agreement on my mobile because a customer enjoyed fretting on off days. Mom avoided my gaze when she uttered it. She simply dipped into the small pottery dish where we drop keys and plastics, selected a dark card she always refers to as the contactless one, and faced Jenna as if it were trivial. "Darling, take your brother's card. He's got around $90,000 stashed away," Mom commented, beaming, passing my card to my sister without asking me. It was nonchalant, unthinking, like suggesting, "Fetch a jacket." "Mom," I responded, "simply that." Jenna lifted her shoulders, accepted the card with a couple of digits like plucking a bloom. "We're only browsing," she mentioned. "Supplies for returning to classes. Jenna hasn't attended classes in half a dozen years." "Return it," I instructed, maintaining my tone even. My lips felt parched. My pulse did that constricted, faint leap it performs when a magistrate poses an unanticipated query. Mom gestured dismissively, irritated. "Cease the theatrics, Harold. We'll handle it afterward. Don't begin." Jenna's smile broadened. "You're such a legal expert. It's merely purchasing." The apricots shone on the chopping surface. A bead of liquid dripped onto the corner of a utility statement for the fuel provider. On the screen, somebody shouted, "You assured me," and it seemed absurdly fitting. "I didn't approve that," I declared. "Don't remove it." Jenna slipped the card into her mobile cover regardless, as though the matter was resolved. "See you soon," she chirped, grabbing Dad's vehicle keys from a peg near the entrance. She pecked Mom's face and swept out, bringing chilly breeze and a whiff of sweet fragrance. Mom continued carving as if all was fine. "You constantly turn situations so serious," she murmured. "You know your sister is attempting to stand independently." I eyed the blade, the apricots, the spotless surface I'd cleaned personally following the meal. I sensed the familiar tension building behind my vision. I suppressed it. "Mom," I repeated more deliberately, "replace my card." She refused. She placed the blade aside and at last locked eyes with me. The expression implied, "Don't shame me. Don't create a fuss. We're kin." That was the initial snap of the mechanism shifting in my thoughts. Not fury, not immediately, just the snap. Here's the segment that didn't occur in a single day. It unfolded across a 10-year span of minor incidents that didn't appear as robbery because they arrived packaged in familial phrases. When my father's spine failed, I covered the scan deductible. When the ceiling dripped, I applied a fresh card to the contractor's bill since Mom's financing was odd. When Jenna overlooked her housing fee, I transferred her funds just this time because her property owner is shady and I didn't want her trapped. If anyone lacked, I compensated. If anyone was stranded, I transported. Nobody inquired how I possessed the funds. They presumed I did because I was the attorney. Here's the unflashy reality. I'm a junior, not senior. I settle massive education debts. I own an inexpensive pre-owned car that faintly reeks of brew, and the $90,000 wasn't idle. It was my reserve plus the initial payment for a simple apartment I'd been accumulating via property application at midnight. When sleeplessness grew noisy, it was each prepared meal, each avoided rideshare, each ceremony where I donned the identical outfit and acted like it was intentional. When you're the composed one, everyone presumes you're okay, even when you declare otherwise. Mom's preferred phrase, "We nurtured you, you succeeded, you ought to contribute." Dad's preferred phrase, "A kin is a single purse." Jenna's, "I'm not seeking charity, it's a venture." I've debated those phrases mentally for ages. I'd compose rebuttals like final pleas while cleaning my teeth, but verbally, I ingested them. I selected my conflicts. I desired harmony. Harmony arrives with a cost label no one sums until subsequently. The strain intensified this recent season. Jenna left a position at a shop after a fortnight because the supervisor had an attitude. Then she initiated a digital shop that vended zilch and uploaded promoter videos about easy living. Mom endorsed a vehicle for her so she could reach meetings. When the installments lagged, guess who assisted temporarily? In June, I informed them I was at last considering acquiring. I expressed it in a cautious tone, the one I employ with uneasy testifiers. I've accumulated the initial sum. I'm consulting an agent. I don't wish to access that cash for anything different. I messaged it as well because I desired it documented. Mom reacted with a love symbol. Dad dispatched an approval gesture. Jenna answered, "Admire you, elder sibling. May I lend your mixer?" A fortnight later, the collective conversation ignited with Kin Supper Sunday. Major announcement. It was Jenna. The major announcement was that she was starting a workspace, by which she implied a space in a leased shared office with glowing signs. She aimed to astonish all with a dream panel. During the meal, she circulated a printed inventory of initial requirements: recorder, illumination rings, several high-end items, a computer that doesn't lag, and presents for upcoming partnerships because you must expend to earn. "Don't glance at me," Dad stated, elevating his hands. "We're exhausted." "Your sibling will assist," Mom declared, as if requesting roles. I gazed at the inventory. I considered the apartment's emerald-paneled washroom I'd preserved on my device. I stated I cannot. "I informed you regarding the initial payment." Jenna rotated her gaze. "You're so rigid." Mom breathed heavily. A profound staged sigh. "Your sibling is striving. You above all should back that." "I do," I responded, "but not with my residence funds." Mom's expression stiffened. "You've forever been prudent," she noted, as if prudent was a defect. "Occasionally you must trust in individuals," Dad interjected. "We've trusted in you from birth." He implied, "You are indebted to us." I cleaned utensils post-meal. The luminous digits on the oven shone 832. The scrubber squealed against a skillet. I maintained respiration gradually, like I instruct worried patrons prior to statements. The following week, Mom visited my flat with cleaning soap and departed with my additional computer, merely for several days so Jenna can modify. I convinced myself it was all right. Then she requested my video access codes to aid her relax. I convinced myself it was insignificant. Then she requested me to endorse a minor individual advance just if Jenna requires stock. I declined that one. I truly uttered the term no. Mom avoided me for 3 days. Then arrived Sunday, the apricots, the card. Following Jenna's departure with my card, I remained in that cooking area and sensed my torso vibrate like an electrical wire. I desired to yell. I refrained. I performed what I invariably do. I attempted to control it. "Mom, this isn't acceptable," I stated. "You cannot seize my card." She cleaned the blade with a tissue. "I didn't seize it." Jenna lent it. "She lacks approval." "You're so unlawful," she remarked, as if unlawful was an insult. "You transform all into a pact." "We're kin." I desired to state, "Kin can still pilfer." I desired to state, "I am not a credit line." Instead I stated, "Contact her. Instruct her to return it." Mom's lips compressed. "Cease dominating all." The downpour intensified. Dad ambled and clad in foot covers with flip-flops, unlatched the cooler, peered within as if solutions resided beside the preserves. "What's occurring?" he inquired, detecting heaviness in the atmosphere. "Nil," Mom responded swiftly. Jenna performed a task. "For what?" I questioned. Mom remained silent. She discarded the apricot seeds in the waste and secured the sack. "I must discard this." She ventured into the precipitation sans jacket. It resembled a symbol, and also merely my mother acting exaggerated with fruit. I lingered there with my device in my grasp. I composed, "Return my card immediately." I withheld it. I removed it. I composed, "This is unacceptable." I removed that also. At 6:14 p.m., Jenna messaged the kin conversation an image of 3 purchasing sacks positioned in a commercial eating area, a drink adjacent to them. The title, "We Adore a Fruitful Sunday." No labels, no bills, no specifics, just a jab. Mom dispatched a love symbol. Dad dispatched a flame symbol he misuses for all. The snap in my thoughts evolved into a gradual buzz. Turning points don't invariably emerge with yelling. Occasionally they appear in a band of bright illumination, in a clerk who's simply fulfilling her role. At 7:02 p.m., my device vibrated with a scam warning. Then another, then a third. "Is this you?" it queried. $38.99 Gadget World, $24.50 Elegance Footwear, $12.80 Elite Aromas site. The commercial center Jenna perpetually marks in her tailies when she seeks complimentary items. I captured the screen since I knew I'd require evidence. I selected no, not me. I contacted the financial institution. While awaiting, hearing a lady affirm my contact was vital, I messaged Jenna. "Halt. Contact me immediately." She ignored. Instead, she uploaded a looping clip of a shiny sack dangling on her arm. Mom messaged me individually. "Don't be spiteful. She's committing to her growth." Committing. The support agent arrived, composed, uninterested, likely in a space with poor illumination. I confirmed all. I requested them to block the card. She mentioned someone was presently at a checkout trying a big buy, and could I verify the sum? I inquired how much. She responded, very softly, $88,000. My lips parted, but nothing emerged for a moment. The atmosphere in the cooking area felt sparse. I ended the call and drove. I don't recall the curves. I recall the noise of the precipitation, the blur of crimson rear lamps, the adhesive brake that requires lubricant. I stationed unevenly, dashed indoors. The commercial center scenting of spice and surface cleanser. Jenna was at Tech Haven, glow circle illuminating a barrier of screens. A showcase of sound-blocking earpieces like awards. Her trolley was piled with containers. A recorder that appeared capable of capturing wildlife footage, 2 premium computers, a pad, a flying device. She donned a bulky jacket and the expression of an individual who's never heard denial. Mom positioned next to her, conversing with a vendor about guarantee options as if acquiring a heater. I approached. Return my card. Jenna winked gradually. Calm down. The clerk pressed a key, inserted the card into the device. The unit beeped. A delay. He glimpsed the display, then at Jenna. Apologies, but this card is, he suppressed a grimace. Rejected. Jenna chuckled as if it was charming. Process it once more. I just blocked it, I declared. My tone sounded more stable than my form felt. Return my card. Mom interposed like a living support overseer. Don't disgrace your sibling, she whispered. Folks are observing. They ought to observe, I responded, at last permitting my terms to strike. You seized my card. It's kin funds, Mom retorted. You'll recover it. When her workspace succeeds, the clerk cleared his voice, awkward near this display. I can reserve the products for 15 minutes, he stated. Afterward, they returned to stock. Restore them now, I instructed him. This is unapproved. Jenna's expression shifted sharply. The grin faded. You're so petty, she murmured, voice subdued. You enjoy making me feel worthless. You've forever enjoyed that. Return my card. She thrust it into my torso and departed with Mom, both grumbling about my demeanor. In the eating area, they sat with drinks like it was a break. I positioned opposite them. The surface was tacky. A child behind me wept over a snack. The ceiling audio played upbeat tunes. My garment was moist. My palms quivered. Mom initiated. You could have managed that discreetly. You could have inquired, I responded. You could have honored refusal. Jenna rotated her gaze to the ceiling. I informed you. He enjoys portraying the sufferer. I placed my device on the surface and accessed the finance application. I navigated to the notifications. The figures glared back. $88,000 try, plus the minor ones. Captures aligned like proofs of their nature. Do you perceive this? I inquired. Do you perceive what you attempted to expend? It was a package, Jenna stated. Reductions, Jenna, I responded. And the manner her name emerged made her glance at me. No further. What's that signify? Mom questioned, wary. It signifies there will be repercussions, I declared. Genuine ones. Mom chuckled. What will you perform? Litigate your own parent. She uttered it like a challenge. I rose because remaining felt too helpless. I won't debate here, I stated, tone firm. I'm heading home. If anything additional is billed on any plastic, I'll address it like I would for any patron. You'll receive the identical politeness and nothing additional. Mom clicked her tongue. You're emotionless. Perhaps, I responded. Or perhaps I'm at last finished being a purse. I abandoned them there. The precipitation had eased into fog. In the vehicle, I breathed out for the initial occasion in 20 minutes and sensed the breath transform into something resembling trembling. On the journey home, I rehearsed phrases aloud. Not for tribunal, for my existence. Folks envision consequences as hushed. Mine was noisy, the chime of collective chats, the muted tone of disregarded calls, the pound of my pulse when my device illuminated with Mom. That evening, the kin collective chat erupted. Jenna uploaded a section about open shame and lacking backing. Mom appended, your sibling has forever had dominance problems. Dad composed, let's be sensible, which in our dialect means, comply with your mother's desires. I ignored. I captured images of each message. I preserved each notification. I altered each code I hadn't previously modified. I established dual verification. I contacted the financial institution again and had them provide a fresh card and a fresh account identifier. And I added a spoken code on the account that isn't my birth date, pet's title, or preferred athletic group. I blocked my financing. I eliminated my name from the automated settlements for the kin mobile scheme I'd been handling briefly since 2021. I terminated the video accounts I funded and that nobody appreciated me for. It seemed trivial for 5 instants. Then it seemed like respiration. At 11:43 p.m., Mom contacted. I permitted it to voicemail. Her tone was subdued and angry. You shamed me today, she declared. You believe wealth renders you better. It doesn't. You wouldn't possess that wealth without us. We nourished you. We dressed you. We sacrificed so you could learn. You are indebted to this kin. I replayed it twice. The term indebted grated at me like grit. At 7:08 the subsequent morning, a message from Dad. Visit tonight. Kin gathering. I composed. I cannot. I have duties. I deleted it. I composed. All right, 6. Then I donned a outfit and attended an early session with a magistrate who pronounces my surname like it's 3 parts. I debated a proposal. I succeeded. Afterward, my coworker inquired if I desired brew. I declined. I requested 2. I began updating, but my vision kept shifting to my device like a canine to the entrance. At 6:04 p.m., I entered my parents' sitting area and sensed that ancient, youthful constriction in my arms, like I should posture better without instruction. Mom perched erect on the sofa with a journal like she'd readied comments. Jenna wore shades inside. Dad walked back and forth. We're going to settle this, Dad declared, gesturing like an official. I agreed. Excellent. Settlement is beneficial. I seated. I placed my device screen down. I interlocked my fingers so they wouldn't shake. Mom commenced. You disgraced your sibling over a confusion. What was confused? I questioned. We believed your reserves were for kin objectives, Mom declared, truly using the term objectives like we were presenting a proposal. Jenna's workspace is a kin venture. No, I responded. It's not. You're self-centered, Jenna barked. You think your minor legal position renders you superior to us. I chuckled, astonished at the noise. Nothing about my position feels minor, I declared. But this isn't about superior, it's about limits. Mom set down her journal and inclined a head. Limits, she echoed gradually, like sampling a term she disliked. So here's what we suggest. She truly used that term. We establish a monthly kin aid allocation just until Jenna is steady. You provide, say, $2,000. That's insignificant to you. And you cease turning all confrontational. My lips parted, then sealed. I inhaled. I extended into my satchel and extracted a slim dossier. I positioned it on the low table. The front stated, in neat lettering, Kin Monetary Behavior Pact. Jenna scoffed. Oh heavens. I composed it during my midday pause. I declared, it's not a snare, it's transparency. That I'd prefer it might sting. What's inside? Precisely what I've declared for months, I answered. My profiles are mine. Nobody is to possess or utilize my plastics, ever. Any demands for funds arrive documented with intent, quantity, and return conditions. No remorse terms. No unexpected stops to lend objects I require for duties. If there's a crisis, we converse it. Actual crisis. Medical crisis, not workspace illumination. Mom reddened. We're not endorsing that. That's all right, I responded. It still holds. You can't establish regulations for us, Jenna declared. I can establish regulations for me, I responded. And I am. Mom rose. Depart. I rose also. All right, she didn't anticipate that. She wavered. You're departing? Yes, I declared. I'll connect when I'm prepared. Prepared for what? Jenna questioned. Quietude, I declared. A pause. Don't be theatrical, Dad declared. He appeared weary. He's forever weary when it's moment to confront Mom. I'm not, I declared. I'm finished. I departed. I walked to my vehicle with a hush I hadn't experienced in years. It was not joy, it was room. The subsequent 3 weeks were an education in what transpires when you exit a position folks depend on. The messages heightened, then soured, then became mute. Aunt Marla composed. Kin pardons, be the larger individual. Cousin Leo composed. LOL, your sibling says you're wealthy now. Cheers. Someone I hadn't conversed with since secondary school messaged me. Your mom says you're experiencing a psychological wellness crisis. I captured screens. I placed my device screen down frequently. Then my structure's attendant contacted to say a messenger had deposited a parcel. Within was my additional computer, marred, and an illumination ring still sealed. No message. I imaged them and stored the image in a directory named Recoveries. I progressed. I viewed the apartment with the emerald-paneled washroom. I consulted the agent. I calculated figures. I sensed the fear of accomplishing something major for myself after years of accomplishing major things for others. On a Thursday, I was in tribunal when my device vibrated with blocked. I permitted it to voicemail. It was Mom. Her tone was altered. Tiny, fragile. We require your aid, she declared. Jenna has a problem with her financing. Someone performed something with a plastic. There's a law enforcer here posing queries. Contact me. I remained in my vehicle post-tribunal and heard it twice. The sunlight was vivid. A child propelled a scooter along the path. Protective gear too large. I returned the call. What transpired? I questioned. It's a confusion, she began. What transpired? I echoed. Mom breathed out. A plastic was utilized. They're claiming it wasn't approved. They're claiming it was deceit. Whose plastic? Yours, she responded rapidly. But it's a disorder, Harold, because it's all logged incorrectly. I interrupted. No, I declared. It's quite straightforward. I reported unapproved usage. If someone utilized my details, the financial institution and the authorities will manage it. You're going to permit your sibling to be detained. She barked, warmth returning to her tone. I could detect the ancient snare gliding into position. Kin, remorse, obligation. I sensed it strike the limit I'd constructed and halted there. I'm going to permit the procedure function, I declared. Like I would for anybody. She's your sibling, Mom declared softly. Begging now. Yes, I responded. And I've been her safeguard for a decade. That safeguard is inflicting more damage than assistance. Mom became silent. Then, you've transformed. I've ceased deceiving, I declared. That appears like transformation. For 2 days, it was disorder. Distant kin contacted. Former residents messaged. Jenna uploaded a lengthy tale about disloyalty with a dark backdrop and light lettering. I didn't view. I only observed when a companion sent a capture with, "Is this concerning you?" I answered, "Not my responsibility anymore." Then it became more hushed. Folks exhaust indignation when you cease nourishing it. I finalized on the apartment. I endorsed numerous documents. I grasped the keys in my hand, warm from the trustee's grasp, and sensed my torso relax like a tangle loosening. On relocation day, my companion Marcus lifted the weighty containers and kept making quips about my legal volumes. Study books I retain for sentiment. Because yes, I'm that individual. We built an affordable assembly table that swayed until it stabilized. We consumed flatbread on the ground because I don't possess a table yet. It wasn't flashy, it was mine. At 9:14 p.m., I remained solo in the emerald-paneled washroom and gazed at myself in the reflector. I considered the cooking area with apricots and a small blade. I considered my mother's expression when I declared repercussions. I considered all the occasions I arrived at midnight with supplies and pretended that was affection. My device vibrated. A message from Dad. Admire you, just that. 2 terms. No symbols, no attachments. It astonished me how much that tiny thing stung behind my vision. I composed, appreciate it. I didn't append anything else. 2 months afterward, Dad requested me to visit without the fuss. The residence appeared identical. Citrus on the surface. TV whispering. The peg with keys. Jenna wasn't present. Mom served infusion she never consumes and nudged the mug toward me. I shouldn't have seized your card, she declared. Gaze on the vapor. I shouldn't have informed Jenna either. I convinced myself it was for her prospects. It wasn't my choice. My neck constricted, years of debating, and then, at last, straightforward terms. She's returned to the shop, Mom added. Halftime, she despises it. Labor is beneficial, I declared. Mundane assists. Mom's lips pulled. You forever preferred mundane. Quietude. A resident's canine yelped twice like emphasis. I'm not the lender anymore, I declared. Not a warning, a truth. I understand, Mom declared. I understand now. Dad seated and gazed at my palms. I should have halted it sooner. I believed I was maintaining harmony. You were maintaining silence, I declared. He agreed. He understood. Do you despise me? Mom questioned abruptly. I shook my cranium. I'm furious. Less now, mostly exhausted. I don't despise you, she breathed out. Can we view your spot? You can, I declared. Bring apricots, we chuckled. Tiny genuine. At the entrance she paused, then extended my ancient extra key. I never utilized it. I shouldn't have possessed it. Appreciate you, I declared, intending it. In the vehicle, I permitted the hush settle. My keys felt weightier, not from quantity, from possession. Here's what experience instructed me. Limits seem harsh when you've been conditioned to be helpful. They seem chilly when your position was comfort. But they aren't barriers. They're entrances with mechanisms you regulate. Folks who cherish you tap. Folks who cherish your entry jiggle the knob. I'm finished being entry. I assist when I select, not when I'm trapped. Last week Jenna messaged an image of a small wage slip. It's not substantial, but it's mine. I composed, admire you, and placed my device down. Tonight I'll dine at the swaying assembly table and gaze at the emerald panel and reflect. I accomplished this. My card remains in my purse unless I determine otherwise. That's the lesson. I won't permit you to exploit me. And the extra, when you cease being the lender, you cease being depleted in manners currency can't gauge. That initial snap in my thoughts that day, not a mechanism sealing, a key rotating from within, and I'm not distributing it anymore.